Hello YouTube. I'm going to try to show you within 15 minutes using words, English words, how the world is just, whole world lies in wickedness. 1 John 5:19 says that. The worldwide universal language is English. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew, New Testament written in Greek, and right now the universal language is English. You can learn a lot about the world by how words are pronounced. And if you ignore how they're spelled, but pay attention to how they're pronounced, it'll show you all kinds of stuff. I need to say these things to set up what I'm going to talk about. In Egypt, the Greeks and the Romans, the religions they had were vulgar, okay? And to keep it clean and Christian, I'm going to do my best, okay? Genesis chapter 3, you have the serpent and the story of Adam and Eve sinning. And God told Adam and Eve, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but every other tree you can eat from it. But don't eat of that one, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the word evil is the Hebrew word Ra. I've said this in other videos, but I have to repeat it. Ra is the name of the Egyptian sun god, which they worshipped gods in Egypt that taught that man did not need God. Just like the serpent said in the garden, he said that the day you eat of the fruit, God knows your eyes shall be opened. All this is important. Your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Okay, now, the sun god Ra, that religion taught that you didn't need God. Through the hidden knowledge and technology, you could be your own God. The priests of Egypt taught this, and they taught back during the Egyptian days that they could do organ transplants and build robots and all this stuff. They said that was possible. Then the Greeks and the Romans worshipped these false gods, which actually were demonic beings, and that's what they followed. And the Greeks called this religion that man can be his own god Hermetica, named after the god Hermes. And you can look him up. Hermes, he's the god of travel and communication and a lot of other stuff, okay? Now, I said all that to say this. I'm going to show you some words and how these words relate back to the Garden of Eden. Remember the sun god Ra. And knowledge is hooked up to the sun god Ra. And also in Genesis chapter 4, verse 1, it says, Adam knew his wife Eve and she conceived. Okay, so they had sex and it was called that he knew her. In Revelation chapter 17, you have the whore of Revelation, and the kings of the earth commit fornication with her. And it's the same thing. They knew her, but it was illegitimate. It is not blessed by God. It is this knowledge of the occult, the knowledge of the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Okay, now to prove that, I'm going to show you some words. Okay, whenever they say that person is smart, they say they are brilliant. That relates to the sun, the brilliance of the sun. Okay, when you go to college and you graduate, you get a degree. Goes back to the heat of the sun. All right. When you go to school, you're called a student. Comes from the word stud. That's the male entering into the knowledge of the religion of Hermetica that came from the Garden of Eden. Or you're called a pupil, because your eyes shall be open and you shall know good and evil. You had the Enlightenment, and people are enlightened, saying they have learned things. It goes back to the light of the sun again. Now the sun in Latin is S-O-L, Sol. And because of that, in the English language, in order to find out how to do something, it is called a solution, S-O-L, solution. Okay, solution. And then you have, even our military is named after the sun, called soldier, S-O-L, then D-I-E-R, soldier, named after the sun. When it comes to purchasing things, it's called sold, S-O-L-D. You sold it. Okay. You also sell things. All right. Now, Sel, how you pronounce it, S-A-L-E and C-E-L-L, you pronounce it the same. Okay. Sel is the same word as hell in the dictionary. Okay, just a second. In the dictionary, in a good dictionary, you look up the word sel, and it says that it means hidden. Okay, and so does you have a cell phone because your phone is hidden in your pocket. Cell relates to the word hell because when you're in hell, you're hidden from everything else. Okay, you have a cellar. Same thing as a basement. Same word. It means hidden. All right, a hermit is a person that hides himself away from society. It comes from the word hermetica. And that's what I was telling you about. It comes from the Greek god Hermes that relates back to Genesis 3. Okay, the word sin, you look in the dictionary, the old High German word for sin is Sunta, S-U-N-T-A. Then when a person is out in the desert or something by themselves, it's called solitude, S-O-L-I-T-U-D-E, solitude, being by yourself. All right, now, you learn, so you're educated. Educated means to rear somebody, okay, rear a child. It's because back in the days of the true God, you looked towards the temple of God, and behind you was the east, and that's where the sun rose. So when you're educated, you look to the rear, to the knowledge and the wisdom of the sun god. Okay, Easter comes from looking towards the east to worship the sun, and the Vatican is set up that way, and I talked about that in other videos. Okay, now the talking about the male and female of Revelation 17, the kings of the earth committed fornication of the whore of Revelation. District of Columbia, a column is symbol of the male, a column is symbol of the male organ. Okay, like I said, things are vulgar. I'm trying to keep them clean. Where is Washington, the District of Columbia? It is in Maryland. So you have Columbia in Maryland, or in Virginia, meaning the Virgin. So you have Columbia in the Virgin. Even their post office, a post, symbol of the mail. Okay. And if you look at the word M-A-I-L, it's pronounced the same as M-A-L-E. The male is put in the male box. The male is put in the female. You got the kings of the earth committing fornication with the whore. The whore is the satanic, demonic knowledge of Genesis 3. All right. You have a smart student. They're called bright. Okay, bright as in sunlight. You have, when you go to college, you have a course of study, and the kings of the earth committed intercourse with the whore of Revelation. So you have a course of study, study coming from the word stud, and the course, the inner course. Okay. You can even look up the word metabolism. Metabolism, you look it up in the dictionary. You got to have a good dictionary. It'll say more at devil because of the word ball. The word ball refers back to the shape of the sun, and it also has to do with a ball in sports in the Greeks. The Greek games were religious rituals to the Greek gods, and a ball was related to the devil because it is thrown away. Just like the devil is, you cast it aside. All right, the word helmet, that you put a helmet on, like when you ride a motorcycle. It comes from the word Helen. The old High German, Helen, means to conceal. It says more at hell, right in here. The word helmet comes from the word hell because it's hidden. The Latin word for hell is C-E-L-A-R-E, and it's the same word as for basement, being hidden. All right. Heliolatry. Heliolatry means sun worship. Okay, so you have the word helio. In Isaiah 14, verse 12, you have the word Lucifer, which is Latin. The real word, the real name of the devil is Hel-El, H-E-L-E-L. Heliolatry is sun worship. In English, when you greet somebody, you say hello. Okay, Why do you say that? Because it's related to sun worship. Or you say high. High is where the sun is. If you use drugs, you're intoxicated. It is saying you are high because it again relates to the demonic beings and sun worship. And drugs came from Hermetica. And if you look in Revelation chapter 17 and 18, it says that the whore of Revelation, by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. The word for sorceries is pharmakia, which refers back to Pharaoh, which is where they get the word pharmacy, because Hermetica is where you get the word medical, and drugs came from Hermetica. Okay, and let me see here. Heli, H-E-L-I, means solar. You have the word help from the same word as heli. All right, now, let me see. Okay, you have a field of study. Okay, study again, referring back to the stud. Why is it a field? Because you plant seed in a field. What does the word plant mean? Plant in the dictionary means to conceal. It's one of them. Then the knowledge, this hidden, forbidden knowledge. You can be your own God through knowledge and technology. You do it in a plant where they make things. A plant, again, it means to conceal. The plant, what do you do in a plant? You use raw materials. Okay, raw materials refers back to Ra, the sun god. Okay, Ra can also mean naked. If you are naked, people say I was in the raw. Okay, refers back to the Garden of Eden when Adam and Eve obeyed the devil. They knew that they were naked, okay, because of Ra. Now, if you look at the word nude, N-U-D-E, nudus is Latin for naked. Why is it nude? Because Adam and Eve knew they were naked. The word gymnasium, if you look it up in good dictionary, it means exercise naked. In a plant, again, back to manufacturing, you have labor. Labor has to do with reproduction. The whore of Revelation says she is the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Labor, if you follow the root words and everything, refers back to female body parts. Okay. Then you have words like operations, which goes back to medical, which comes from the word hermetica. Operations, op, which comes from optical, which means your eyes will be opened. Okay, you have opposite. Satan is the opposite of God. Again, O-P, op. Okay, you're optical, your eyes shall be open. You have opposition in sports and everything else. Satan was in opposition to God and his rules. Your opponent, again, the opponent to your eyes shall be open and you'll be an opponent to God. Optional, you can choose what you want to do when your eyes are open and you optically see your options. Okay, you have back to manufacturing, produce. Okay, a factory with raw materials makes produce. God said he would make enemies between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. Factories make products. Okay, trees have produce, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil had produce, which is these the satanic system that makes it so that man thinks he is his own God. I got a lot more of these. Okay, and then you have open-minded, just like Serpent said, you know, your eyes shall be open, you shall be your own God, knowing good and evil. All right, man, I could go on and on and on. There's a lot more of these. I got pages of them. But anyway, you get the idea. And there's even more. If you want to know more, send me a personal message and I'll even tell you some more because it's amazing. But the English language is a universal language for a reason. Okay? Genesis 3, people still live in it. And the world lies in the wicked one. And the whore of Revelation 17 is this forbidden knowledge of the serpent. God bless you.